Okay, you guys, I know these sort of upsells get a little bit tiring, but this is an important one. I wanted to go ahead and show you how we tie the previous indicators together and we add a little bit of additional trigger information so you can sort of more finely hone your actual entries. It's easy to look in hindsight and see where you should have gotten into a trade, but there's plenty of places where, for instance, right in here, where we are approaching a potential resistance line, and depending on the time frame you're looking at, the difference between getting short here and getting short up here could be quite a big spread. And of course, when it starts to break a little bit above, what do you do then? Because maybe you're already out of your comfort range thinking that this was going to be resistance. So wanted to get into how to use upper time frame levels, drop it down to the lower time frame, looking for support and resistance, and then actually identifying our trigger to get into our trade. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a 30-minute chart, and I have applied a couple of Midas curves. Condense this a little bit so you can see. Right here, we have an important pivot high right here, and you can see that it's providing resistance in these areas. And then we took this pivot low, calibrated the lower channel line, and then calibrated, once this high was broken and it pulled all the way back, we went ahead and calibrated to the high of this pivot, and then also this pivot low right here, I went ahead and added in a Midas curve as well and calibrated the upper and lower channel lines. Now what I did was I saved this information for our higher time frame indicator. So we're going to go ahead and look at a 75 tick chart with this indicator overlay to help guide our shorter time frame decisions. Okay, so here we have the 75 tick chart with the 30-minute levels. So again, this is a 30-minute primary Midas curve, the cyan. The blue is the upper and lower channel line for this curve, and then the green is the primary curve from one of the higher curves that was launched on a pivot high, and then the green, and then let's see, I think you can just see this here. This is the upper edge of the upper curve, the upper channel line, I should say. So you can see how nicely it's holding support and resistance zones. So what we're doing here is wanting to drop down and look for areas to go ahead and put a trade on that theoretically have the lowest risk. And I'm going to go ahead and use this as a starting point here, although you can see back in here we had a test of the curve. We had a test of the curve right in here. We have a rally off the curve, a pullback, and we're getting a potential entry trade right in this zone right here. You see that there's some down triangles right here, and we just pushed into a 30-minute level from above it. So we're looking at this as a resistance zone. So if you feel strongly the market's going to break through this level, you obviously could have taken these trades, and these don't look like much, but they were actually decent scalping trade opportunities. 3 to 6 ticks after the entry point, even on this little move right here. However, I would not recommend taking those trades. This is an indicator, and it simply points out, good trading opportunity or potential trading opportunities. The triangles are based on the shorter time frame. It's not paying attention to the 30-minute level. What is paying attention to the 30-minute level in this case is we're able to visually see it, and we have some evidence of rejection from the 30-minute test. We have a rally, and in this case we're paying attention to this potential trade entry, and the goal is holding part of your position all the way back up to the next pertinent 30-minute level or beyond that, depending on what the daily time frame is looking like, for instance. So in this case, so we have a rally up. I do actually just want to show you one other thing, and this is part of why it's nice to have multiple indicators. So this is a nice pivot high prior to the period that we're looking at. I'm going to go ahead and apply our Midas curve from that point. And you can see that if you're paying attention to this curve here, okay, so it tests the level here. It breaks above it momentarily, gets back below it, and then we have resistance. And so we have resistance, and then it falls off to the 30-minute level. We have, you know, a nice test. We have, you know, a couple of tests in here. If we were paying attention, these are not bad spots to be looking for a potential trade as well. But the auto indicator, which is painting the triangles, wouldn't have initiated a trade until here, but you can see that certainly would have been a nice trade. And then you can see right in here what happens. We rally off the 30-minute level. We have resistance, 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 and this curve continues out into this area, and we have resistance. So this would have been a great first target zone if we had entered any of these possibilities. And then on this entry right in here, it would have been right at this price. We would have wanted a first target, you know, into this zone right here, or we might possibly have wanted to enter it on a fractal break above this area, simply because, you know, it has acted as resistance, and it was acting it just a few minutes before, right in here and right in here as well. So just a couple of things to consider. It's nice to have the Midas indicator that you can go ahead and add, because for instance here, as a short-term trend changes, it cuts this curve off. We might want to be able to go ahead and extend that curve out to see, again, resistance in here, and then it breaks above it. It just gives you a little bit more of a quick way to access, you know, potential support and resistance zones for trade entry and for initial targets. Okay, and then so let's move forward here. We come back down. You know, this trade, if you were taking it, you would have wanted to tighten your stops up and take some profit targets, because you're moving right into that 30-minute zone. On this trade, however, we have another test of a larger time frame level, which means our move could be much larger off of there. So we have a rally, pullback. We have a trade entry signal right in this area. I mean, this is a really nice trade in and of itself, but you can see then what we get following it. We have another trade entry, a couple of opportunities to get long right in this area right here. And again, if we just go ahead and move our curve up so that we can see where this is lining up, you can see these tests hit right onto this important pivot Midas curve, and then we had multiple entry signals to capture this move up. View a better snapshot here. Okay, so I mean this is a very extended move. If we had entered anywhere in this area, we're talking 101.30 in crude oil to a maximum high potential of 101.96. I mean, 66 or $660 per contract inside of this was about a 10-minute period right here. So the market was moving pretty quickly. Really nice move, and I think you probably can see the potential of having access to these setups. So click the buy button below, and I will see you on the other side. Looking forward to sharing a lot more information with you guys, and it's definitely exciting. So I am looking forward to the opportunity of sharing that with you.